This is a great job well done. You've talked about NHIF, the 4 pillars of His Excellency the President. In order to encourage uptake of the national insurance relief, the bill introduced a tax relief on individuals who make contribution to the national insurance relief. The amount of insurance relief is to be claimed is equivalent to 15%. In order to achieve the targeted revenue, the bill seeks to amend the following: the income tax, the VAT, and the retirement. But I'm happy about the zero rated of bread and flour products. Madam Gladys Wanga, you did a lot of research, and Kenyans love you because you are addressing the basic commodities of this republic. You've talked about TVET. In our country, in the 290 constituencies, particularly in my own constituency, I have 3 TVETs: the Rift Valley Technical TVET Institute and Kipkabos Technical. So I'm very happy that you've again, there are tax rebates on internship. That is a job well done. You've talked again about borders. You are touching the downtrodden people, taking into consideration that the biggest problem that this country have is unemployment. And Kenya, Madam Speaker, we are facing a lot of challenges because of this COVID-19. I've said time and again that it is a crisis that has never been witnessed by mankind. But I wish to thank His Excellency containing the COVID-19. Having said that, because of time, and I'm reasonable, thank you for introducing this proposal. You've taken into consideration the highest degree of balancing act. You are a moderate person. Gladys Wanga and your team, especially, we are very happy. I want members of parliament to congratulate all of them because they are sensitive to the needs and wants of Kenyans. Thank you, Madam Speaker. You are a great person, Madam Speaker. The future is for you, for women. Women, Madam Speaker, are the only precious and the only contested space on earth. So women, you are doing a good job. We are proud of you, Gladys Wanga. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Honorable Chepkut. May God bless you too. Let me have the member for Levy. I don't remember next time. Please ensure that you, make sure you carry your cards. Give him the mic.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me that chance also to contribute to this finance bill. First of all, I take a chance to congratulate the committee headed by Madam Gladys Wanga and Vice Chair Mr. Ihenya Dirango. I'm so glad that they have brought in many things of helping the Mwananchi as well without any raising any taxes in terms of VAT. One thing I've seen, like bread will be zero rated. I've seen their tax rebates for NHIF, whereby people who will be paying at least 5,000 shillings will get tax rebates of up to 15%. I congratulate them very much. I'm also concerned, I'm also very happy about the apprentices who are coming from TVETers. We have only been receiving tax rebates for university, people who are apprentices in universities. Now, people who are apprentices from TVET, the employers will be receiving the tax rebates, which is also a great thing. So I congratulate the committee for looking at that. The other part that I congratulate the committee so much is capping the cabinet secretary not to be making decisions on VAT, increasing VAT, without those proposals coming from the parliament or this house. That will control the cabinet secretary so that taxes are not increased arbitrarily. So I congratulate the committee also so much on doing that. On the things of ICT, having taxes that will be balancing in the ICT sector, will also, the digital platform, also the committee thought deeply into it. So I'm so glad about this finance bill, and I'm thankful, Madam Speaker, for giving me that chance. Even without the card, I'm also very grateful, and I'm happy that I have contributed. Thank you so much, and I support.
Thank you very well for the support on the finance bill. And now, members, I give the floor to the leader of majority and the representative of the people of Kipi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I deliberately chose to speak to as a tail end to give more members an opportunity to speak, and so that I could be able to get a feel of if there are issues that require addressing. But I'm so glad that everyone is in support of this bill, and particularly on the accolades that have been sent towards the Finance Committee and its able chair, the Honorable Gladys Wanga. Honorable Speaker, we all recall that the Cabinet Secretary did come to the House on 10th of June and addressed us and highlighted some of the issues within the budget policy, and emphasize the need for these revenue measures that are contained within this finance bill, number 18 of 2020. And we all recognize the difficult times we are operating in with the COVID and the need for recovery. And he did inform us that we expect, much as we dipped in terms of our growth last year, we do expect to recover from a growth of about 6.6%. And I'm sure when you then reflect that also along the theme for the budget, which was the Building Back Better, a strategy for resilient and sustainable economic recovery and inclusive growth, I want to ask to reflect on this, because when you're talking of we want to build back better, which means obviously we were building badly. That's for sure. So even as we do things, and I'm looking at this because when I also look at the amendment the committee is proposing, I can see they're trying to reorient the Treasury back to not just business as usual, but let's look at the environment in which we are operating and see what we can do to help the local industry grow, protect from consumerism and a lot of that, and balance the two issues. So I see the work of the committee reflecting within the overall budget theme of building back better, which is basically doing things in a better way than before. The bill is obviously proposing a number of raft of measures, a number of bills, which I don't need to repeat. And having read through the proposed amendments, I agree with the minister from where he's coming from. I know we have a challenge, and I did mention this even as we were discussing the budget estimates. We have this trilemma of we need to put more expenditure because of to crank up the economy to mitigate against COVID. We also know we have limited revenue streams, and we are also curtailed in terms of our borrowing capacity. So that trying to balance those three is obviously a challenge, and we have to bear that in mind. Be that as it may, I'm also happy to see the whole issue of infrastructure bonds being introduced within this bill, and it comes just as we are discussing the PPP framework. So again, we are moving more towards let's get more money from the private sector and targeted to specific projects, which is good. In respect of the excise duty, if I just come to some of those specific things, I agree with the committee totally that yes, the minister is proposing within the excise duty of 2015, excise duty act of 2015, to tax on confectionaries and all that. But the committee has gone far much better and saying, fine, we will raise revenue, but also not kill the local manufacturers. So by exempting local manufacturers and taxing it on the imported confectionaries at an enhanced rate, we protect the revenue, but at the same time, ask those who want to consume, those foreign confectionaries, let them contribute to the growth of our economy, so that we don't end up taxing everyone and killing even the local industry. A country will never develop by relying on imports. It has to start by protecting and developing its local manufacturing capacity, because that's where we create jobs for our youth, and it's in tandem with our Big Four agenda of enhancing and improving the contribution of the manufacturing sector to hopefully 15% as a point. The bill does introduce these common reporting standards. Again, it's a no-brainer. It's a good thing. We don't need to go through that. And we do look forward to the Cabinet Secretary publishing the regulations in terms of how we are going to have all these foreign companies disclosing what they have globally. And this is part of this transparency building, which also comes close to what analysts are calling that building back better includes enhancing transparency. And the example I gave last time, if China was more transparent on the COVID, we would not be where we are. So if we are more transparent in terms of where assets are, we'll be able to combat tax evasion among crimes. The 90-day period on filing of an appeal for Capital Market Tribunal, again, brings some predictability, that once a matter has gone there, within 90 days it will be sorted, which is good for business and avoids that putting off investors. Now, I'm very happy, and I think Honorable Mishi has mentioned this, in terms of the extra incentives by KRA to whistleblowers, to people who help identify and assess taxes and all that. And this is, again, is part of incentivizing people to give that information. Now, I know we still are very weak on whistleblower protection. And I believe we had this haste at one of the universities where we also, the Vice Chancellor, and I'm sure the matter is actively now under investigation or prosecution. But unfortunately, what has happened is the whistleblower, the accountant who did the whistleblowing, has been punished and haunted. And I wish to ask the University Council for that particular university, I believe it was Masai Mara University. Huh? Masai Mara University. I would wish to ask them to seriously consider whether they know what they're doing. Because a whistleblower who has saved the institution from continuous plunder by the management and is then made to suffer on account of some administrative issues is very unfortunate. And it sends the wrong signal that the council of that particular university is not committed to the war on graft. And it's unfortunate, and we need to follow up. So, Honourable Speaker, having looked at that, I specifically want to turn to some of the issues raised in the committee report and ask the chair and her committee to look at some of those things. And one of those is within the investment deduction. I believe it's captured within paragraph 414 within my report, where the committee is introducing some investment deduction to apply to investments outside Mombasa and Nairobi, but putting a figure of 10 billion shillings. Now, 10 billion investment is so huge. I would want us to start small. Let's encourage people to put investment even up to 2 billion, so that we can have in all the counties, in all the townships in Kenya, scattered investments, rather than everyone concentrating in Nairobi, because if you can't do a 10 billion outside, then you'll be forced to do it in Nairobi. And hence, instead of spreading the investments across the country, we will be telling people, if you don't have 10 billion, then invest in Nairobi. But I would want to see the reverse, that if you have up to 2 billion, invest outside Nairobi, we'll still give you the investment deduction allowance. So I would like to ask the committee to consider changing 10 to 2 billion. I think the other issue I'd like to look at is you're proposing an amendment, the proposal on to delete the proposal on 15% specific tax on motorcycles. I agree 100%. And I'm on record. I believe it was 2006 or 2007 that I came to this house and I pleaded with the house to exempt motorcycles up to 125 cc from paying duty. And we saw everyone abandoning bicycles and moving to motorized traffic. It's a sector that has grown. It has its challenges, which are more of road safety rather than, investment. And that can be controlled. So I'm in total agreement with that, and I want to congratulate the committee for saving the border sector. If it works, don't fix it. And I don't know what the minister is trying to fix, because the border people have not complained that they want the change in specific rate. If I understood him, he said he might be, that it will even be cheaper and all that, but the border people are happy. Let's keep it that way and avoid any disruption. Now, the other thing I looked at is this proposed amendment to, and again, it's on the same, within the same paragraph, where the minister was attempting to tax these new substitute products for cigarettes that are meant to sort out the hygiene, the health issues, because you're not combusting, you're not burning the charcoal, the tobacco to produce nicotine. It's already sifted and you ingest it, either through the mouth or through some other mechanism, without harming any other person near you and without harming your own lungs. And I think one of the typical examples is the lift, and there are different variations of it. Now, there's a new product being introduced into the country. But in his own wisdom, the cabinet secretary decides, I will tax it at the same rate as cigarettes. Now, how do you tax a product that has not even been put on the market? You cannot make money from a business that does not exist. And I agree with the committee totally that let's have an introductory rate. Let this product get into the market. As people accept the healthier alternative to smoking, and he starts losing revenue from cigarettes, then you can incrementally push the revenue or the taxation or the new product, but when it has already penetrated into the market. Right now, trying to do what he's trying to do will basically shift the investment from Kenya to another country. And it will be coming here through the back door, like these vaporized, these electric cigarettes that we find people smoking, but nobody knows where they come from, or nobody knows how they're taxed. So I believe that, and I want to say thank you to the committee for that, and I'll support them. And I believe we are not going to lose any money, because we didn't have it in the first place. A product is not being taxed, so if you stop its introduction, it's zero. If you introduce it and get a little money and create a base for future tax increases, it's all the better. The committee has also done well in terms of broadening the tax base on and capturing all the betting and lottery transactions. But I think went a bit too low in terms of the tax rates. I would urge the committee to look at, yes, we are moving from 10%. You had proposed to 7.5%. I would have preferred 15%. But perhaps you might want to look at figures between 10 to 15% rather than, going too low to 7.5%. So that at least, because people who are betting, it's a windfall. And a windfall, if you put in your 100 shillings and you get 100,000, you can even share 50% with the good public for the good. But we don't want to tax it at 50%. I think anything between 10 to 15% might be better than the 7.5%. So I would like to ask that they consider that. Congratulations again to the committee for reversing this issue of the tax records from 5 years, which the minister wanted to move back to 7 years. These 7 years is historical when we were analog. And the CS did come to this house and justified why they need to move from 7 years to 5 years. So far, I've not had any justification of why we now need to go back to 7 years. And hence, until we got that justification, I would rather we just continue sticking to 5 years. So I could go on and on, Honorable Speaker, but I'm saying I think I'm happy that now we have a bill. The committee has done well, lots of public participation, and I can only congratulate them and say, let's move on together to build this great republic through some tax measures. And on that basis, I believe that we are not going to lose any of the revenues after balancing what has gone up and what has gone down. With those many remarks, I beg to support.
Very well. It's always interesting and good listening to you, Honorable Kimunya, with your expertise in finance. So we know you having been the Minister of Finance. Our members, there being no another member who is willing and wishing to contribute to the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2021, I call upon the mover to reply. The Honorable Gladys Wanga.